Okay, Johannes, tell me about your biggest personal setback and how you dealt with it.
Well, my biggest personal setback was right after my biggest success. We were in Rio and won the 4x100 meters relay, and we celebrated and jumped onto each other, and Marcus is smiling because he definitely he knows what comes next. I bent my knee and I tore my meniscus.
Oh God.
And what's the most emotional part with this is that I was carried out of a wheelchair out of the stadium, and you have to know I've got my amputation in the age of 16 because I was born with crippled feet and deformed lower legs, and I stood between the decision amputating my legs or have a wheelchair assisted life, and I never wanted to sit in a wheelchair, never ever, and then get carried out of my biggest dream, the stadium where we won gold. Inside a wheelchair was bringing back all the bad memories, and this was a really tough decision, and I was desperate, and I was asking what I'm doing, and I fell in a hole, and luckily I have got all my supporters, my friends, my family, my coach right behind my back who said, you can't stop now, carry on and give your best. And I trained and trained and trained, and luckily 1 year later I ran to the World Championships and won gold over the 400 meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's my most emotional setback and success in one.
Wow, that is pretty phenomenal. I think for anybody to have a meniscus injury is always disastrous, but in such a situation with such a background, but then to come back and to win again, big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's really inspirational. Maybe Marcus, on to you. We're living in COVID times. How have you been coping with COVID, and what's your biggest learning out of COVID?
Yeah, for me it was like it started last year in March when we came back from the training camp. We prepared for the Paralympic Games in Tokyo, and we came back and we didn't know if Tokyo is taking part or if it doesn't take part. So yeah, it was a tough situation, but I think for me it was mostly to stay calm. I mean, I took the situation very serious, but I think the most important thing was to take it serious, but also stay calm. And well, I think the biggest learning, to be honest, is that we usually think in borders. There's Germany, different countries, and we think so much in borders. But this situation teaches us that we shouldn't think so much in borders. We should think more globally to cope with the situation. And I think that's for me the biggest learning, that we shouldn't look just on our small, little country. We should look a bit more global.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's interesting because I used to travel all over the world all the time, and now I of course hardly travel at all because of COVID, but I feel more connected because I'm not on much more video conferences with a lot of people. So I think very, very good learning so far, that no matter what the circumstance, we can still stay connected somehow. Thanks, Marcus. Irmgard, could you maybe tell me a bit about your personal experiences with inclusion and diversity, and whether you think society is doing enough to be inclusive for people with a disability?
Well, personally, I think society has a long way to go for inclusion. And I grew up in South Africa, and I came to Germany 6 years ago, and I couldn't speak a word German. And through the sport, I was accepted, and I learned more about the culture, and I got all these lovely friends and all these lovely people. And the same with the sport. As being a para-athlete, we show society what is people with disability. So we're kind of breaking the stigma around disability. And I think in society we still have a long way to go to show the people what it is like for people with disability. That's not just something that you have to shame about, but it's something that you can talk about and open freely about, and so people can accept it a bit more as well.
Yeah, fully agree, and thanks a lot for sharing that. But I have to say that you and all of the the para-athletes are, for me personally, extremely inspirational. I think anybody who has seen what you can achieve can only get inspiration from it. And I know I'm not the only one. So I hope we can make what you're doing known to a broader public who can then appreciate not only what you're doing, but can be inspired themselves to make more of their own potential, because you are clearly doing that and you inspire others to do that. So huge thanks to the three of you, and best of luck in Tokyo.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Sure thing.